One, there was so much expressed and there was a lot to unpack, similar to today. We're afforded this opportunity to meet you and greet each of you, some for the first time, and perhaps those that have been with us for 29 global virtual summits that we've held. We meet at the intersection of emerging technologies and humanity with an extraordinary focus on accessibility and education, community development, equality, safety, privacy, wellness, ethics, compassion, care. I was reminded this morning when I woke up that the very week that we started GatherVerse was the week of the Ukraine war invasion. Why did these things happen? None of us completely and fully know why, but they have. Ukraine, a whole entire city, country, location, one of the biggest and greatest destinations for technology in the world. I remember concluding our fourth day, which is our first GatherVerse Summit, and seeing this take flight. If that didn't justify the need for GatherVerse and the express need to keep humanity in the center of all of our innovations and the things that we innovate for, and moreover, for human betterment, for care and compassion and wellness, then I don't know what did. We've been able to make it this far together, to express and to explore and to assemble leaders from around the world. Even today, we only have a little bit of time to do it. We gathered transmetropolitan and transcontinental around the world, and we're so happy to once again see everybody that's come to assemble at GatherVerse.live and various other social streams and destinations that are restreaming and broadcasting from your homes and from your offices and perhaps even from cafes. It's not unheard of. But more so, what makes this so important at this particular time, there's never been a more important time to have these discussions at the intersection of emerging technologies and humanity. Why? Because we've never had more interaction with machines than we have today. And these machines speak back to us. And soon these machines will believe that they also have a disposition. They can see, they can listen, they can express through concatenative means, extended chain of thought reasoning models, and more. Sure, we know about agentics, that's today, but what's tomorrow? What does this all mean in this great transition that we find ourselves in business? Well, today we're about to find out just that much more. This isn't the panacea of all solutions for all things to come when it comes to humane considerations for technology. But this is a terrific start. We gather with you with a humble heart and knowing that every voice matters, every heart matters, and they have a place to belong here at GatherVerse. Lastly, I'll leave you with this, that here with GatherVerse, we've come to appreciate that our identity, because every organization in the world has one, if you will, but our identity and our capabilities, if you will, of what we've been able to produce, it cannot happen without each of you, because so much of what we are is centered in human centricity and community. Without community, we have no GatherVerse. And as it is in seeing today that there's so many of you that still support this mission, this cause, and I feel like we've barely just begun. And now it's time for our next roundtable. Share this with a friend, take a screenshot, tell somebody. GatherVerse.live, Summit 2025, Day 2 is on. And it's all the way up. May our gather be well.
Hello and greetings. My name is Lingitao. This is GatherVerse Summit Day 2, and I'm happy to kick off with the first panel of the day titled Global Wellbeing Technologies' Role in Supporting Mental, Physical, and Financial Health. With me is a list of expert leaders who are going to help me demystify this topic, and I am so very excited. Thank you, Christopher Lafayette, for such a wonderful introduction. And for you, my panelists, I ask you to introduce yourselves. I ask you to be brief, tell us who you are and why you are here. And I will begin with you, Miriam, and I will pass it all the way and conclude the introductions with Key Jones. Miriam, over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Miriam Jacobson. I am a functional medicine dietitian. I support individuals in their health journeys to help them uncover the root of their health conditions and to really help them find sustainable solutions. And then I also support corporations and teams to support their employees towards better health.
Wow, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Ami, over to you. Ami? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. I work with clients in a new way to look at marketing in a natural and organics industry. I'm here because I believe technology and humanity go hand in hand, and I support the mission of GatherVerse.
Wow, we're happy to have you. Sam, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am the founder and creator of Connect More and creator of the Human Code, which is to help technology leaders and parents like me in a digital age simplify our communication and authentically connect with each other better. I'm excited because this aligns completely with my life word of synergy, integrating technology and humanity. Thank you.
Oh, wow. We welcome you. Sophia, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia, Westrich by marriage, Lozano by birth. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Christopher, Lynn, and the entire GatherVerse team for the opportunity. I've worked in advertising technology for a decade, driving growth in data analytics, sales operations, and strategy. I believe in the importance of making an impact at the intersection of technology and humanity. So I've co-founded an organization called Advanced Women, and we're here to make an impact for advocating for women at every field and every level of their careers who are passionate about pushing boundaries, achieving meaningful growth, and amplifying their voices.
Thank you for joining us. Rachel. Okay, you're muted. Kindly unmute.
That would probably be helpful. I was using the technology of ESP. I just don't know if the internet has caught up with us yet. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Ann, and I'm the founder of the Menopause Education Center. Menopausal women are the fastest growing workplace demographic in the United States. And it's very, very important that companies and women have access to tools that can really help them thrive during this time in their life. And while technology can play a big role in that through online courses and apps that help you manage your body and your health, there's a human aspect that needs to be included. There's feelings that need to be included. So this is a very important intersection of where technology and humanity meet.
Yeah.
Especially given that every woman on the planet who was biologically born a woman is going to experience this change. And it's
Wow.
something to be talked about, paid attention to, affects families, businesses, everywhere that they live. So
Yeah,
we have a,
I
that's what we
agree.
do.
I agree. We look forward to learning more of that. That is very, very interesting. Lomar, talk to
Hello,
us.
everyone. I'm Bernice. I'm the founder of Loman Creative Services, where we support small businesses, nonprofits, and faith communities. We help them navigate and thrive with technology. I'm here as a voice for those communities, as well as just to support GatherVerse, the vision. I love it. I'm 100% in support of technology and humanity, and this is why I'm here to add to this conversation today. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Key Jones. Yeah, kindly unmute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Key. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Black Girl AI, but I'm also the founder of Reset, which is an organization that helps women overcome and defeat trauma in so many more ways than one. I can always get into that at a later time. But I am here because on this panel, everything goes hand in hand with what I do on an everyday basis. And I just love being on the GatherVerse panels because it's always great networking and learning from others. You learn something new every day, you know? I
Yeah.
don't know everything, and it's just always great to just network and get to know others. So
Wow.
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're very happy to have you here. Dear audience, this is our panelist for today, day one, first panel. And dear panelists, shall we begin?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go. So I will start with you, Ami. I want to throw this to you. When we're talking about mental health and technology, we're seeing a very big trend of mental health. It has been doing the rounds. And here we are in an era where technology is accelerating so fast. How can you match those two? So the question is, how is technology improving access to mental health? And anyone can chime in on this. But Ami, I want to hear your opinions first.
First and foremost, it's giving people with mental health wider access to doctors. In my case, I do websites and I help with ADA access and things like that. But I have a client who actually created a card deck to help people who go nonverbal. And her card deck is going global. So it's not just allowing better access to doctors, but it's allowing better collaboration and better ability for people in positions who are dealing with something to help others in new and unique ways that hadn't been thought of before. Really proud of her. She's put a lot of work into it, but her card decks are actually in homes for women who have been suffered from domestic violence or any other type of violence as well. So the amount of, but the bottom line is at the end of the day, it's giving us more, it's bringing mental health out of the closet. It's allowing us in a space to actually talk about it and help those who suffer, because they don't need to be shut away. We need to be able to support them and learn to work with them.
Yes, and that's very important, giving them a voice. It's not time
Yeah.
to shut that voice where they say they want to express themselves. Sophia, I see you agreeing to that. Do you want to add something to that, if you may?
Sure, of course. That was wonderful. What a wonderful example. I think, in general, it really helps us overcome geographic and social barriers. So having telehealth and teletherapy access available across the globe to people who need it at a lower cost, so it becomes more affordable, I think is really what technology has allowed us to do.
Yeah, and speaking of affordability, I think it goes in line with accessibility. And I want to pass this to you, Miriam. What advancements are making physical wellness more widely accessible, considering all the parts of the world, even the rural? Yeah, and anyone can chime in on that as well.
Yeah, I think that there are so many different resources and tools that are available to us now. The first thing I think of is what, what caught on during the pandemic was, these online fitness communities and these online like niche health communities. And it's really allowing people to bring, practices into their home instead of spending 2 hours going to the gym. They can do a 20-minute class at home. So in terms of like physical fitness, I think that is the first thing that I think of. But I also see a lot of people having more access to information about their health. I think that people have been really struggling for so long and have been gaslit by their providers so much. And what I see now, especially with, social media and more doctors and more providers being able to provide education, like patients are better informed of like what questions to ask and also what symptoms might not necessarily be normal. Like we all experience some symptoms that are common, but certain things that we don't need to settle for, and that they might not be hearing from their personal doctors, but there is so much information available. And so to inspire people to seek second opinions I think that there's just so much here. I think that there's online niche communities to empower patients as well. I see this in terms of like digestive health communities that my patients are able to be a part of. And then even like I'm a breast cancer survivor, right? So even as a personal, as a patient myself, right? I'm a provider, but I'm also a patient. And for me, like I know that I was having complications from some surgeries that I had, and my doctors told me that I wasn't in pain, that I wasn't having problems, like I was completely gaslit. And I found these like amazing mastectomy influencers online. Like who would have thought there's mastectomy influencers online, right? But I found these amazing women who empowered me to find different solutions, to reach out to different surgeons. And so I think that there is so much power that we can harness from technology.
I
I agree.
totally
Can I say something as well?
Yes.
I agree with what she mentioned about the faith communities and how she mentioned about Miriam mentioned about the faith communities specifically around the pandemic time. And it was a couple of years ago where I um, personally have got a coach through VR, virtual reality. Speaking of technology, I've seen the rise of fitness communities through virtual reality where I don't have to go to the traditional gym setting. I can have physical fitness and monitor my health with my physical performances through a virtual VR headset. And so I've got involved with health communities through virtual reality where I'm in my home and I can change my environment to now I'm working out, I'm doing boxes, I'm doing squats, but it looks like I am in New York. And so I believe with the rises of technology, it's allowing us to be immersed in immersed environments and have a really great time with working out versus I'm spending money on gas or versus me having to have a traditional fitness wear. Okay, there's a cost as well, and this is what technology has afforded us to do to save some costs with even fitness and just having the technology of just virtual reality to help as well. I've seen that, and I've seen the growth with that as technology is evolving.
Wow, that is very insightful. Rachel, please go. Add your value to.
So one
Yes.
of the industries where the gaslighting and the misinformation is most common is actually in treating menopause in women. Doctors have admitted this. It is public knowledge that they talk about how we know a lot about puberty, we know a lot about fertility, and then after that, no one has any idea what's going on in a woman's body. 9 times out of 10, not even the woman herself. So education and being able to go to your doctor as a woman going through perimenopause or menopause and knowing what questions to ask and not accepting a doctor telling you, you're fine, it's aging, get used to it, deal with it. So what's happening to women in the healthcare system, especially around menopause, is just the word I want to use is disgusting, but I know that's not the word, but I can't find another sentiment that talks about what it's like, even in my own experience with my doctor. Did not want to test my hormones, did not want to give me a bone density test so I can understood my baseline. And I'm an aggressive woman, so I had to fight, and I'm on a PPO. So I was like, just order these tests. So for women that are in managed health care or company managed health plans that don't have the way to advocate for themselves, getting proper care for menopause and perimenopause is really, really difficult. Unless, of course, you see a doctor who specializes in women's health issues. And even doctors will admit that this is not part of their continuing education. All of these things are starting to change in Washington. So having technology be able to teach women about their own bodies, so when they go to the doctor, they feel educated and empowered, is life-changing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And what you've all shared is just so intriguing and something worth following up with. And what you've mentioned, Rachel, about women's health, not only women in their menopause and women at all ages. We're seeing that trend of gaslighting. You go with a symptom and someone just downplays it, or your physician just downplays it, and it's not good. But when we have technology and we can share with each other, there are so many apps out there for women's health. I have seen them, I have tried them, where women just share their own experiences, and we also get other people who are willing to work with us in this journey. So I really agree on that part of technology, which brings me to the financial aspect. And I want to put this to you, Sam. How does technology help individuals strengthen their financial stability?
Oh, thank you. I think, one point I'll say about financial stability is I think I don't have the statistics with me handy, but if you ask most people what was one of the highest stressors in their life, and they're going to typically respond financials, right? And I think that again integrates so much into when we talk about the intersection or integrating the whole human, right? Our mind, our mental wellness, our physical wellness, our financial wellness, the whole spectrum, right? The entire ecosystem of it. And I think for me, I've seen a great increase in tools that are available. Technology is providing the tools and the financial tool set, right? Whether it's the apps or it's, it can be basic suite of products of Excel for budgeting, money management, and now with crypto, like just getting on and gathering with others to be seen, be heard, be understood, and the safe space to ask questions, because it's going into this whole financial realm of the unknown, right? And the unknown can be a bit scary or fearful, and we're learning and grow as we grow. So I think there's a great opportunity for gathering with that. And I know as a parent, it wasn't available for my children, but I've seen a lot of great apps that are being developed to help with money management. I think one of them, green light, maybe that might be it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I think it's just great that we're encouraging that kind of development. At the same time, I'd like to say there's a disclaimer. I often say we're only as good as our data when it comes to stuff like this. So
yes,
a big factor.
I would also like to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Please do take it on.
I also want to add, in addition to apps becoming more available for financial management, there's also a lot of really good information and access to information being passed around. So as someone who personally, over the last couple of years has had to work out of tens of thousands of dollars of debt, having the ability to improve my financial literacy just through influencers and finding people on social media. There's a lot of good information out there and a lot of bad information out there. So you kind of have to use your best judgment and sift through it. But to be able to say that I paid that off because I had access to information that wealthy and well-off people didn't necessarily want democratized, in past generations, and having that, now not only as the first step, but now on the trajectory of having a 401k set up and having, a retirement plan in action that I wouldn't have had access to without technology being available.
Very, very true. There's so many information that we're now coming across right now that we couldn't even access maybe just 2 years ago. And this leads me to a question. This might be a little bit off, but when it comes to financial stability and saving, when it comes to our health, Key Jones, do you think there's a point where AI can replace medical or physician consultant, such expenses for consultancy or just checking up? Do you feel we're going to get to that stage? Because I have seen people who are looking for medical recommendations using ChatGPT or such apps.
I wouldn't necessarily say replace, because it's a tool and it's here for us to leverage it. And yes, it's great. So it's only as strong as you make it, pretty much, which you feed into it. So I wouldn't necessarily say replace. It would help us. And I'm sure we all can agree to that, because we all use these tools every day. And they are mind-blowing.
Very
but
true.
at the same time, no matter how mind-blowing it all goes back to what you feed into it.
Mhm.
So you just have to know how to use the tools to leverage it, but I wouldn't necessarily say replace it.
Yeah, that's a very, very good word. I see you, Miriam. Please chime in.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Key was saying, I think, it really is about what we feed into it. And I think oftentimes we go to our providers and we don't know what information is actually really valuable. So when I'm sitting down with someone, especially for their initial session, I'm asking them so many different questions and I'm scanning, like I'm putting different symptoms and different parts of their history like into my little brain computer to help them create, a really impactful health plan for themselves. And I think people oftentimes come to me not even realizing that certain information is actually really important, or that certain symptoms are red flags. And so I think it is actually really dangerous to think that like AI can actually replace those types of care. But I do agree that it is really like an incredible tool, right? And so if you're experiencing certain symptoms, put that into AI and ask what questions can you ask your providers, right? Like how can you better advocate for yourself? So it really is about the information that we're feeding into it, but also the expectations that we're having for it. And those really important conversations I think that we're having today.
I love that, Miriam.
Yeah, we took your typical doctor's questionnaire is 1 or 2 pages when you go to the office. The intake form, we created an intake form that's over 14 pages long, really diving deep into a woman and her symptoms and what's happening. So I think intake and those questions to turn someone into an advocate are really important. And it looks like Lynn, our host, has disappeared for a moment.
That would explain the dead space.
It
was like a moment of silence.
How many of my peers here are in either perimenopause or menopause or have this on even their radar as a woman and have gone through the experience trying to find information and talking to their doctors and navigating the Dr. Google and Dr. Reddit and Dr. Amazon. Everyone is a doctor. Oh, and Lynn is back. Yay.
Yeah, I was just about
AI,
to.
though,
Sorry, I was just about to jump in. I was going to cover Lynn, but she's back, so I will be backing out now.
Hi, Russell.
Thank you, Russell.
Though with AI, let's just say Chat GPT, I do believe as it relates to research, like Rachel, I believe it was Rachel who asked about the menopause. What I'm seeing now that we have Chat GPT, it is allowing people more accessibility to information really quick versus the traditional internet web where you can find so many articles and so many ads and everything. But I believe AI is allowing us, to, if we want to ask about menopause or if we want to ask certain health questions, I mean, we've seen it where it's information right there to us versus allowing us to, like I said, to use the traditional way of receiving information. So that's what I believe. Also, technology with the AI is helping as far as information and to get those articles right there versus the other way that we're used to.
Yeah.
I see a new card in Russell's back. I was going to say, do you want us to touch on that, the shift from traditional?
Yeah, no, please continue. I'm just here to moderate overseas, so continue, guys.
Welcome, Russell. We got this. We got this.
I don't even know what the questions are, so
that's okay. Thank you.
Wonderful.
We appreciate that. I can share a quick story because it just happened and it relates to all of this and back to the tradition, how it's shifted from traditional to our new use of integrating technology. Well, just this week I've had 2 different checkup and noticed that to the point of technology, it's almost like was it Rosie from the Jetsons, the robot? It's like it's moving towards the technology is on wheels now, and so there was that element of that being used during the checkup. But then the other opportunity area is a big one. It's integrating all of these elements of our data, our health records, all of the medical technologies and software systems, because I know there was a hiccup because people started asking for me to confirm my data an address, and it was like back to when, now, you know, I'm getting ready to celebrate 50, and this was back to when I was like 10 years old data. And I'm like, whoa, what? What? Like, there's a disconnect there. So there's an opportunity to make sure, you know, again, we're only as good as our data when it comes to integrating these systems to set us up for healthier journeys.
I believe the next question is, you know, how does technology help individuals strengthen financial stability? We'll fire this question over to you, Sophia, and then we'll continue the roundtable discussion. And thank you, Sam, for saving the day. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think we might have touched on this one. Yeah, I think Miriam and Bernice are saying the same. So we did touch on this, but just to kind of like reiterate the point, having access to information about budgeting, saving, tools that you can use and put your finances into, they integrate with one another. So if you have multiple accounts, bank accounts, retirement accounts, you can all have that streamlined into one place. And I think that the tools that we have, in addition to the information that we have available to research on our own, is what allows us individuals to like strengthen that financial stability and financial literacy.
Interesting. I mean, does anyone else have an opinion on this? I mean, Rachel, I mean, you was having an in-depth conversation as well. So I mean, please do you know, share your side of things, you know, kind of like what you were saying quickly, and just to kind of recap, and then I can then jump in and continue the questions, because obviously I've missed a lot. So if you guys could get me up to speed and what's happening, that'll be great.
Sure. So when a woman enters perimenopause or menopause, it's also typically the highest divorce rate in the United States is during a woman's menopausal years. And if you think about what happens, if a woman does not understand the finances and hasn't been balancing the checkbook, watching the bank accounts, the next thing you know, she finds herself in the middle of a divorce and no idea what's happening in her finances, with her money, what's going on. So we actually have part of our education inside of our Menopause Education Center is financial wellness and financial health in partnership with Commerce Bank. So we have a whole platform of teaching women how to manage their money, grow their money, and really understand how to be financially stable, not just on their, you know, on their own. So even if they still are in a partnership or in a marriage, it's always nice to have your own money, to have your own checking account, to have your own allowance, so to speak, that you don't share with the husband or you don't share with the kids. So you have, you know, especially if you're earning your own money and bringing that back to the household. So it's very important for women to understand their financial well-being for their present and for their future. And also if they leave assets. You know, many women have no idea what happens. And the next thing you know, they don't have a will in place. Something unfortunate happens and all their money goes to the state. So legacy planning, estate planning, and financial awareness is really, really important. And it's not something we're taught in school. You know, they teach us how to bake. Well, how about teaching us how to bank? You know, we want to learn how to bake and we want to learn how to bank. So we want to learn both.
I love that.
Definitely
the double
changing.
B.
I mean, yeah, think about Women's History Month is coming up soon. And if you look back, some of our mothers couldn't even get their own credit card without our fathers needing to sign off on them being approved to have credit. When you research what's really been happening to women, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know, but I'm aware of what's happening. Definitely, and you know, I like my experience. I used to work with before I joined GatherVerse and doing Just Verify. I used to work with a lot of women creators of the music industry, and I've just seen how volatile the music industry is. You know, for women in that specific industry, like just how underpaid they are, the opportunities that they lack. Like there's just so much like horribleness within like the music and entertainment space, and I've seen it firsthand. Like just just helping just women over the years, and it's one of the most craziest things that I've ever seen, and that's why I originally did my platform called Mabob, which was helping women creators in the music industry to sell like their NFTs and using like the latest technology to be able to make money and benefit and make a living from their creativity, which I think is really hugely important. And no matter who you are, you need money to live, right? Like including assets, including the wills. So I honestly, I really agree with you so much, Rachel. And like I don't know what else really to add to that. And I saw Miriam, she was like nodding her head the whole entire time. She's like, no, don't come to me. Don't come to me, please.
I'm just in total, I'm like a cheerleader over here. I'm like, yes, we need to be more educated. We need to be more empowered. We need to be more in control of our financial health and wellness. Absolutely. And I can use all of these tools, which is probably why I was like shaking my head. I was like, I can learn more from you guys about financial health and wellness.
Let me ask you guys a question, actually, like in terms of like robotics, right? AI and robotics and stuff like that. How do you think that's gonna help, you know, in towards empowering women or supporting women? Like, do you think that could be a positive thing, a negative thing? And this is a bit of a side question, but I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Amy, please go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to say. As someone who is disabled and I use crutches and I'm a part-time wheelchair user, there are some really great robotics for those who can afford it. I am not one of them. What? Robotics and AI only go so far if they're charging you every ounce of money you have just to live. That's not acceptable. Women are also not typically involved in robotics industries. So when things are engineered, they're engineered for men, not women. And our needs are not the same. And we need to be considerate of that. Yeah, those are my thoughts. This brings up another conversation I had this week. I met with a owner who fights the federal government left and right, sues them left and right, and he's on this mission. He's going to single-handedly save women business owners, but women business owners aren't involved. They're not marketing. They're not working on his website. They're not working on the plan. They're not doing. It's just him. He's going to be the white knight that comes in and saves the world. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you. Why are you not using marketing firms, PR firms that are run by women? Why is it only men that get to determine this? You're not, and we see this across society. Robotics and AI are dominated by men, and if it's anything for women, it's not going to work. Sorry.
Go ahead, Sam.
No, thank you. That was amazing, Amy. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it makes me, I can relate from the perspective that 25 plus years as a woman in tech. So my entire career has been technology. And so as a STEM leader now, it is, again, I'm finding that I'm just getting so much more passionate. I think for so long I was busy doing all the things, right? That I'll say that I was mom, like manager of mayhem, just doing all the things. And so yeah, manager of mayhem, yeah. And so, and now I want to really live my legacy, not leave a legacy, but live my legacy. And part of that is going back into robotics and engineering and the practices, the education sector, where we make sure we co-create together. And that is, like you said, Amy, taking the perspective of all of us to understand how to build something better together. Co-create is it's such a powerful thing in my personal opinion.
Oh, what did I miss? But here I am, Sam, manager of mayhem. I found that very, very hilarious, to be honest, and that is very, very insightful when it comes to robotics. Thank you, Russell, for diverting to that. Anyone who had something else to add on robotics and that? Anyone else? Before I go to the next question. All right, thank you for exhausting that. Ki, I want to come to you. And, when it comes to traditional models of health and the current one that we've had right now, even the robotics coming in, how is the connection between health and technology shifting from traditional methods? And I also want to hear from you, Bunnies, and also from you, Sophia.
It's shifting very robustly. It's a huge difference from then until now. Doing things the traditional way, I don't think none of us are really doing things the traditional way anymore. We have to keep up with what's going on, and if you don't keep up with the Jetsons, you're gonna get left behind. Like, who would have ever thought watching the Jetsons with Rosie and everybody else, the whole entire family coming up, who would have thought that basically that is where we are now? Like, who would have ever thought that? So there is a connection, there's a huge connection and a huge shift. So if you don't keep up with what's going on, you're going to get left behind. Just basically like that, and it just kind of worries me with our elderly population. It's kind of harder getting them on board because they are not used to all of this huge technology. So that's kind of the population that worries me. But that's what we're here for, to help them. But again, that's the only ones that kind of worry me because they're so set in their ways. They don't like doing appointments over the phone. They rather get up and leave out of the house because a lot of times that's their only time from leaving their home most of the times, unless they're still very mobile and they can go to bingo, still go grocery shopping, the veterans, they can do the VA things. But other than that, they like to go out their homes like that. Like that is Greek to them, doing telehealth and stuff like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. Someone else who wants to add in? I see.
Yeah, I agree with her. I definitely agree with Key, and she mentioned about the elderly population. So as it relates to health, from the traditional part, I see that we have rapidly transition. Okay, technology allows us to rapidly I always tell the communities that I support, listen, get with the program. Technology is not going anywhere. Literally, it is shifting. We have, as relates to health, we have been accustomed to going to the doctors and going in our cars, and now we have technology that allows us to telehealth. Okay, we can see a doctor through our smartphones or through our laptop, and so that eliminates the car, that eliminates us, getting fully dressed. I think I remember seeing someone was saying they were in a Zoom meeting, they shared their photo, they had little underwear and socks, but the top they had the suit and the shirt. This is where we are even with telehealth. You can get half dressed and really see a doctor right from your computer or your laptop or smart device. And I believe, and I believe, I believe not only that, but I believe VR and AR is going to play a big part as well with health as the transition, because we're with the AR, the augmented reality, where you can see, you can actually see where you are, but you can see another image. It's the digital assets combining and connecting with the real life images. And I often am exposed to the Apple Vision Pro. And so when I put it on, I even witnessed this application. It was a health application where I can see the human body. I can imagine it and bring this human body right where I am. And I'm seeing articles where surgeons now are performing surgeries with the Apple Vision Pro. They can see more of the x-rays. I just believe it's just growing so much in the health industry with a lot of these tools. And again, I sympathize and empathize for the elderly community as well, because I'm seeing the transition of technology. And even with
All right, Sophia, she comes back. Please chime in.
Of course, I will keep it short, but we're in a paradigm shift with technology, and we're going from reactive one size fits all models where there are textbooks on illnesses and conditions that we have like a reactive approach, and now we're shifting to preventative care and continuous data. We have wearables, we have smart technology, we have equipment that is allowing us to keep a pulse on our own bodies, and that's giving us a lot of power and a lot of influence over our own care and creating a personalized experience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And what you have just expressed, that the three of you, was very, very profound. But I want to just follow up with something. When we're talking about traditional medicine and where we are right now, I also acknowledge there's a huge population of the world that is still in the dark, that doesn't have access to internet.
Yeah.
And personally, I will give an example of where I am. There's some parts whereby when you go to a doctor, our health records are still kept in books. So once again, when you come back, if maybe you're a patient of diabetes or kidney dialysis or such things, when you come back and your records are not in the books or your books were misplaced, guess what happens to your health? You either get misdiagnosed or you repeat again. That means paying another cost, or your case just ends like that, or you find another hospital. So we have to acknowledge that there's a very huge population of people who are still in the traditional methods of doing health. And my question is, how can we match them? And this draws me to the next questions of what challenges remain in expanding access to health related tools apart from accessibility. Do you see other challenges, and what are your solutions, do you think? Rachel, I can come to you on that, as well as Amy. Please chime in on this, help me understand.
So the internet is an amazing place, and it can be really an effective tool for what Sophia was talking about, because my goal in the Menopause Education Center is to teach women to be proactive about their health instead of reactive. Because when you're already in that reactive state, it's not a good place to start a health journey. So technology and tools, being able to teach women to be proactive and advocate for themselves changes the entire game. And now with accessibility and telehealth, you're able to find a woman is in a rural area who's going through hot flashes and is 2 hours away from a doctor. She can go online. She can find a doctor. She can get medicines and different things delivered right to her house. She can go on apps and use apps that can provide therapy and hypnotherapy and all of these different things for their symptoms. So I think what's great about technology is it's creating a really well-rounded space for care for individuals.
I totally agree on that. Amy, do you have something to add on that?
Yeah, I think this all ties into the rest of the conversation, but Bernice made some really great conversations around VR and AR that tripped my memory. 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare pain condition called complex regional pain syndrome. And they were at that point rolling out a new type of behavioral therapy where you sit in front of screens and you're surrounded by fields of like sunflowers, and it's meant to calm you down when your nervous system starts going out of whack. Think about today now, that same therapy can now be done with VR or AR, right?
Yes.
We're bringing technology for even pain management to a different level. When 20 years ago, I was one of the first people, I had to go through 3 rounds of approval for my insurance company to get a TENS unit. TENS unit can now be bought at your local Target, right? The lidocaine patches, they cost me $300 for 10 patches 20 years ago. You can buy lidocaine at your grocery store. So advancements continue to happen, and it's only helping us really deal. Someone like me, if I was still dealing with that level of pain without the treatments, I would not be here today. So these treatments allow, especially people with pain, and it's not just people my age, like we're talking the elderly. My grandma and I talk about how we do the similar treatments. Okay, we bond our pain. But again,
that's very interesting.
A whole another level to it, so we can progress.
And thank you for sharing that experience. I found it very, very interesting when you and your grandmother shared the same pain. Also, some joy at the from it. Miriam, you're a health profession. How can health professions and technologies collaborate more effectively?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And I think, Sophia touched on this a little bit, but just to elaborate, there are so many wellness tools that empower patients to understand more about their health and their well-being. Like there's glucose monitors, there's at-home blood pressure, we can look at our heart rate variability, we can look at sleep data more than we've ever been able to, right? And so we can really understand how our behaviors as individuals are impacting our health and our well-being. And we can use that to empower ourselves, and then also in order to advance the questions that we're asking our doctors, right? So when we have more information about our health, about our well-being, about what questions to ask, we can actually push our providers to understand more, to give us better answers, to advance that science and advance the research that we so desperately need. And, you know, the way that our society in terms of traditional medicine is functioning in traditional models is we're still in like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's just not working. That's not working for anyone, right? Half of the US population is suffering from some sort of chronic health condition that is preventable with diet and with lifestyle. And so when we are really like able to harness that power, understand more about our health and well-being, we're actually pushing those traditional models forward. And we need to be doing it in a lot fast. You know, it's happening really fast, but we're in a crisis now, and it needs to be happening in even faster, I think, in terms of empowering the individual.
Miriam, what you just shared is very worth considering, and I hope our technologists can take that technology